All right, so I'm going to go ahead and begin. As you can see on your screen, you got the top four reason payments are not being processed. Unfortunately, it happens. And when we say payments are not being processed, you think you did your due diligence, you brought in the paperwork, you billed the order out, right? At the end of the day, what we want to do for you is everything after that. And that's what we're here for. But there's times where we got the information from the field not good, and the customer won't pay the bill. And what type of examples could that be? Well, that could be illegible paperwork. Basically, we can't read it. So we're going to talk about that. And I encourage you guys to engage with us. Well, Gabe, we have this scenario. My driver's out in the field. I don't see them. What can we do to process the best quality paperwork? Because at the end of the day, if the customer doesn't pay the bill, you get deducted, and we don't want that. Um, and other issues we're going to talk about. So let's just to see it right there. You see the first one. Number one issue is illegible paperwork. Is it too dark, blurry, too light, things like that. I've seen the speedometer in the background saying going 40 while they took a picture of a sign BOL. That's not good. Another issue is simple. Correct PO reference number not being on the invoice. Basically, we might put the load number on the billing screen, but the customer, in order to pay the bill, needs the pickup number or the PO number or what they actually call a customer reference number, things like that. I can't give you a specific one because it tends to be different, but I got some specific examples by specific customers. So we're going to talk about that. Another one is missing paperwork, not attaching slash uploading slash emailing proper paperwork in. It could be the wrong paperwork, etc. One agent asked me just recently, Gabe, my driver's using e-rigs, but I can't see all the paperwork that my driver comes into an actual order. And believe it or not, yes, you can. We're actually going to talk about that. Mike's going to talk about that when we talk about receiving a duplicate email copy of the paperwork. When you receive that, it actually it gives you the pro number, and you have an instant image of that paperwork. So two things: one, you can see if it's the right paperwork for that load, and you can see if it's legible. Is it clear enough for them to accept it and understand it and read it and stuff like that? Like, although we give the option to take pictures, that it's not supposed to look like a picture. You want to crop it, you want to change it to make it look more acceptable as documentation. And we can talk about that. We're going to talk about that. Next is not getting the approvals for billing any additional charges, accessorial charges, detentions, overweights, things like that. You bill for it and nobody approved of it. Guess what's going to happen? They might pay part of the bill, just the line haul part, or they might not pay it at all until they get a correct invoice. And this can happen. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the next slide I have here. Bear with me here. I don't know what you're going to see on your screen. It should be. There we go. The number one issue, illegible paperwork. Too dark, blurry, too light. You see these two examples, and I got more examples. These are just two I put here. The one on the left is too dark. The one on the right is too light. It's happening. It is happening, and it's happening to a level that we want to address it. We want to avoid this, and that's why I'm happy everybody attended today's webinar. Everybody who has, and I guarantee you, at the end of the webinar, you'll come out on top. This can help avoid these type of issues. Okay. So let me get into the couple examples of paperwork, bad paperwork. Bear with me here. Just gonna do a couple clicks here. All right, and this is a close-up example of that. Can I read this? Let me try to zoom in. You think the customer is gonna accept that? Unfortunately, they're not. It's not legible. And when this does come in, an agent goes, I didn't know that. I didn't see that. So there's two things I want to address here. One, click on View Documents before you bill an order out. click on view documents before you bill and order out. Make sure that the paperwork is legible. That's first thing I wanted to mention. Um, almost got sidetracked what that second thing was. Let's just focus on the first one. Make sure you click on view docs so you can see the paperwork is and it's legible, it's the right paperwork, etc. eRigs allows you to get email copies of the paperwork, so that's very helpful as well. Um, okay, thank you, Mike. And by the way, for anybody who's just joining us, Mike Rodnix is also on. He's an organizer. He has the ability to say things to everyone, help answer questions. He's manning that down. And he's also going to show us an eRigs example of taking that paperwork, that right picture of the paperwork. Can't stress that enough. I remember the second thing I wanted to say. Do not get rid of the originals. If the driver takes a picture of the paperwork or scans it at some kind of truck stop and it's a horrible scan, basically something you can't really use, do not get rid of the original paperwork. I would still continue, I suggest and highly recommend to still continue to receive the original copy. Even if you get it 2 days later, they take a picture out in the field and they give it to you and you bill it. And it's horrible. It's a bad picture. You missed it. You didn't notice how bad it was. At least when you see the driver and how many times later, you can get that original paperwork. And then when the collector of the account, or if it got that far, right? Or if you noticed it up front, you can scan in the right paperwork. Do not think that just the driver taking a picture of a bill of lading and putting it into the order that your work is done. You still got to continue to make sure it's correct, right? At the end of the day, we don't want this coming back to us. So that's just one example. I have a couple more examples, right? There's a couple more examples that we were experiencing. Give me a second just so I can get there back to document. Right here. This is one image of a straight bill of lading. And it's clearly not legible. I know you're looking at a screen in a screen, so it might not even. But let me tell you, even if I zoom in, it's hard to read, and although you might be able to pick a little bit out of it, the customer's still not going to accept it, and that's what can happen, period. And it looks clearly like an image. So how can we help avoid these type of images? You can help crop it, and we're going to do that in an example, because these are clearly eRigs images. You can help crop it, right? Put a square around it. We don't need to see all that other stuff. As well as when the driver takes a picture, and tell this to your drivers, tell them to turn on the dome light, okay? Or use the sunlight outside, something like that. I don't know where they're taking all their pictures, but if they're in the truck, turn on the dome light. Use outside. Things like that. Turn on flash. There's pros and cons to flash, right? If you're in a bright screen, a bright place, dark place, blah blah blah. But they have the ability to take better pictures. And I know I'm trying to convince my dad to take picture. Forget about it. We can set up a beach and have the perfect sunset, and then my dad takes a picture. Oh my goodness, I don't know what to tell you. But still, you got to try, right? It has to be a legible picture, period. So this is a good example. Let me just zoom out a little bit here. As you can clearly see, the page. This is the entire page, and look at the picture. This is the entire page, and look at the picture. So that was part of the problem, right? They don't even see it up close like I did. It doesn't come across that way. It actually comes a lot smaller. Scrolling now to the next example. Let me see if I can rotate it for everyone. Bear with me here. Dun, 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 dun. I should have rotated these. Okay, there we go. Oops, I didn't know that one was upside down. But listen, I can't read this. Clean the lens. Clean the lens. I know when you get an eRigs, when you get a tablet, Evans Delivery provides, it has a microfiber lens cleaner. I use them for my glasses, my cell phone, my screens, and stuff like that. Clean the lens. That's what this looks like, a little blurry image. I do want to mention uh, another thing. Uh, Images lose quality. I'm repeating this. Right now we're focusing on pictures, okay? Images lose quality when they um, travel. And I'm going to give you an example. The driver takes the picture on eRigs, excuse me, and then that goes from the eRigs app and it goes to the Evans system, right? Your corporate's the agent portal. But before it even gets to your billing screen, it changes quality. It loses a little bit of quality because of size, right? Just it like makes it black and white, right? Things like that. Like, all right, let me make it black and white. So that's part of the problem, and it loses a little bit of quality there. So that's why I say up front. And then by the time it gets to your billing screen, it should be. It doesn't lose a lot of quality, but it loses some. And that's why I mentioned the source. The main picture has to be a good picture. There's more than one way to avoid this. Please contact me or Mike Rodnick. There's other apps out there, even Cam Scanner, things like that, and you can just email the paperwork in. Just tell your driver here, this is how you email it. Boom, boom, and I'll talk about that. Or they can just email it to you, and then you can upload the paperwork in. It's gonna be okay. There's more than one way to do it. That's why I'm not sure exactly in this webinar how many examples to give you because there's more than one scenario to approach and target. So we make sure that you contact us with your type of scenario. We can definitely address it. Here are the general scenarios that I'm covering. I can go on, and it's not even important that this one's upside down right now, but you can clearly see that there's images in the background, and it's hard to read. Uh, Customers, I can't speak for all of them, but they are not accepting images when they're coming like this. I want to say they're not accepting images at all, and that's why Mike Rodnick's going to show you proper ways of taking pictures. But this does give me a good opportunity to clearly tell you that these are not going to get paid. We don't need a picture like this. We just need this. It should have just been cropped to that, and that's what Mike's going to show you. Bear with me here. I know I have a couple more examples. That's the one I wanted. Let me zoom out here. Here's another example of bad paperwork. We actually got this in, and it looks like just the paperwork on a table. So this gives me an opportunity to talk about what about multiple documents. Remember, we're still talking about images here. We're still talking about e-rigs and stuff like that. That tends to be a big culprit. And just to mention, the IT department is looking to make the e-rigs app better functioning for taking pictures and stuff like that. But you got to understand, it's not a camera. It's not a camera app. Not only that, it's at the end of the day, it matters how you take the picture, and that's out of our scope of management. But this right here, I got 5 pictures, and I can't read a single one. I got one picture of 5 documents. I can't read a single one. That's a big no-no. We want to take at least one image of each document. One image, you have to do it one by one. Yep, if that's what it takes, and that's what we have, one by one. One image of each document. That'll help best. And obviously, I can't even. This is just a bad example. And quite honestly, it should have been caught by the agent. And if you're on this webinar, it's okay. I'm not going to put shame on you or anything like that. Not at all. We're all humans. But we definitely want to address these. And this is another reason why don't get rid of the original paperwork. Driver, I like to me this. I'm looking at it and it's clearly not legible. I can't tell anything. The customer might be able to recognize what page they're looking at, but at the same time, like which one's a delivery order? This looks like an interchange receipts. This looks like a delivery order. I don't know. This has numbers. It looks like a rate sheet, rate confirmations, things like that. But none of it's clearly legible. So if we would have clicked view documents, we could avoid this from going out. And if we would have received, this is eRig, so if we would have received an email copy, we would see this up front, right there up front. And Mike's going to give us an example. Give me a couple minutes, Mike. I'll put you in there. But I wanted to see if I can show everyone an e-rigs example. So I'm going in my email right now. I had one earlier, um, but me searching the word e-rigs is not helping. Give me a second here, everyone. I'm just here we go. Perfecto, perfecto. So let me bring it up. Okay, I received a copy of an email, a documentation email of somebody using e-rigs. So this is a test account, right? But right there, it gives me in the subject line, it gives me the pro number. You know what's better in the subject line? It says B for billing. So I know the driver selected the right doc type. B for billing. The other day, an agent said, Gabe, the drivers come in, they did it under miscellaneous. I won't be able to know. I click on view documents. I won't be able to know if it's a billing document. You're very true. You got to like ask your settlement rep, is this a billing document or not? But at least you have the opportunity here in eRigs copies to know if it was scanned in. So I'm just, I'm grocery shopping with my daughter who doesn't know what she wants to eat tonight. All of a sudden, the driver sends in paperwork, and I pick it up on my phone, I take a look at it, and okay, this is the pro number. All right, this is B doc type. Okay, this is the paperwork. Then I click on the image itself to make sure it's proper. So I'm going to go ahead, click on it, or try to view it, whatever. Bear with me here. Preview profile, and there it goes. I'm looking at it right now. Can I zoom out? I'm trying to zoom out. It's pretty much a signed POD. It's pretty much an electronic copy of a signed POD. So this example isn't an image, but it's still there and it's still available. I have a whole bunch in my emails right here. I looked up E-Rays. We recommend you get a separate email. And we'll get to questions. I saw Jess. That's my girl. She always sends questions. We'll get to questions in a minute. But look, I have all these E-rigs right here. I can go ahead, take a look at them, and make sure the paperwork is as best as possible. If not, maybe you can do something. Maybe you can do something personal and try to get the image across successfully as possible. So let me see. That's pretty much it, right? Too bright, too dark, things like that. Images are not legible. We can't stress that enough. Mike, are you okay to offer everybody an e-rig demo?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, awesome. Mike's really like one desk away from me, so it's like I hear a lot of how do I say feedback. Give me a second, Mike. I'm gonna go ahead and share with everyone your screen. Just bear with me here.
All right.
And don't worry, anybody asking questions, go ahead, ask your questions. What we're going to do now is do an eRigs demo, and then we're going to address any questions up front about illegible paperwork, about getting that paperwork in the right way. So ask away. Right now, I'm going to pass this over to Mike. Bear with me here. As soon as I find his name, staff right there, right click. Okay, make presenter. Here you go, Mike.
Boom. Show my screen now. All right. Can everyone's or Gabe? Can you guys see my screen?
I can definitely. I see the team viewer. You're shaking
Cool.
it around.
All right. Awesome. Great. Gabe, thanks. So yeah, Gabe was talking about a lot of benefits of e-rigs. One of the most popular is the ability to capture images and upload them directly into our system. So in a sense, it takes out the middleman and it gives a driver direct access to that particular load. Quality is going to be the biggest area that you want your drivers to focus on. And the newer cell phones that come out, I mean, cameras are probably one of the factors that are always improving, right? So, and we really want to capture that, no pun intended, on making sure that we have in place abilities to gather that paperwork, put it in the system, ensuring that driver is getting paid and ensuring that you have everything in place to bill out and collect commissions. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to log into eRigs. On my device, we're going to take a look at it from my phone. It's going to pop up on the screen, and we're going to look at the view of a driver, what they see when it comes to their visibility, their ability utilizing eRigs. So here we go. We're going to come across this, and I'm not sure how much everyone knows about eRigs, but we definitely have a lot of good webinars out there on our YouTube channel. Also, you have us in the training crew. We can definitely help answer those questions too. Many are going in that directions because of the capabilities that it has. So here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up eRigs, and you're going to see it right here. It's available on Apple devices, on Android devices. So whether it's Google Play or App Store, you can search eRigs, E-R-I-G-S, and it is a free download. Each driver has their own username. So we're going to kind of skip all of that. We're going to go right to the camera capturing capability. So I'm going to go into my orders. As a driver, I'm going to search for that particular load that I want to scan in. All of these tiles here that we see, these are action tiles. You can actively click on every single one of these to pull up that billing information that was entered in on the order screen. So if I go in here, I'm going to click on Send POD as a driver. You have two options. We're going to go right into camera capture. Camera capture is basically you have, or a driver has a document they want to upload in the system that is not Evans electronically generated. So if I wanted to pull up an electronic POD that's generated from our system, I can go to on-screen signature capture, which I feel confident to say that 100% of the time quality is not going to be an issue because it's going to remain an electronic file with just the camera, or I'm sorry, with just the captured signature. So quality will never be really an issue with that. It comes down to the camera capture capabilities. So here we go. So what this is going to do is going to open up their camera. A lot of drivers are familiar with CamScan, like Gabe said, or other type of camera capturing apps. But this is going to open up that camera on their device, whether it is a tablet they're renting from us or their personal device. eRigs works on either one. They have the ability to now capture that document. So as Gabe was saying, I'm playing a driver. One of the things you don't want to do is capture an image like this. You see how it's like depth-wise? It's not going to be legible for a customer to really utilize this as a document. You see a lot of this where you have all of that, we'll call it white noise around. You see a keyboard, you see my desk, like my gray slacks there. So that is irrelevant to a customer. So you got two options as a driver. The first one we always say is, you zoom in just manually get right on top of that document so you have what exactly is going to be wanted, right? This will eliminate any type of cropping that would be needed. Now, if you look here, I'm kind of moving my hand around. You see a shadow, right? So shadow is definitely something that you want to avoid if it is severe, if you want to say. So if it's taken in a truck where you have like this direct line of shadow going across the documents, you want to try to line it up, whether it's moving a document and capturing this way to where shadow is not going to play a part in the legibility. So for my purpose, I'm going to just stand up here. So let's just say I'm going to take this picture. Driver takes that picture, right? So we captured it. The first thing the driver can do is they can review this. Do I like this picture? As you see here on the left, they can retake it, or they can choose to use this picture. So I'm going to say, yes, we're going to use this picture. One of the first things that Gabe was really pouring into is the ability to crop out all of that white noise. I like to say you want to crop out the crap, right? Only want what is relevant to the customer to show up on the screen. So in this case, I have an Apple device. You have all the borders around. So, all right. Yes, there's a lot of white paper here. So the customer, you can capture just that paper, or maybe why not just go up to what is important to the customer? Go up right to where the relevant information starts. So what we did here was we now took out all of that space that is irrelevant. I'm pretty happy with this, so I'm going to click Done. Now we have the ability to rotate it, which more or less that's going to be probably the least function that is used. There is a little, if I want to be picky, there is a little shadow I see going across this section. So maybe I want to now go to the next page. Let's see if I can lighten it up a little bit. See here? There we go. See, that helps get rid of that shadowy area. So if I go around, this is kind of one of the examples Gabe shows that we get where it's all dark. The nice thing about e-rigs, they do have the ability to brighten the paperwork. So I'm like, all right, that really captures the document a lot more clean. And then, I'm sorry, that's a contrast. And then you have on the bottom, which is going to play, and then you can also adjust the brightness as well. So you have the ability to, as a driver, move it around. As a driver, you want to pour into them, you want to be able to read it. What you are uploading is going to be a representation of the document that is going to determine if you are going to get paid and so on. So as a driver, I want to make sure that I'm going to get paid, so I need to make sure that this paperwork is legible for acceptance. After all said and done, I feel good about this. I can click Next. Here's where Gabe says, where he was mentioning, you can put in an email address manually. So what Gabe was showing you is those emails, they come across sooner than they will appear in a system. So having an email set up to receive all eRigs uploads is, I highly recommend it. One of the nice things as well is you don't have to have a driver manually type in that email address all the time. Contact TechDeck and say, hey, this email address, I want this email address to receive all email uploads. It could be an individual's email address. It could be a team email address, so multiple people get it if that's the case. Either way, we can have that set in the background to where they don't have to really put anything in there if they didn't want to. But maybe they wanted to put their personal email in there to get a copy as well, totally fine. Whatever is put in there email address-wise, that is where that document will also be scanned in. So think of it as you're CCing yourself in on the document that will be uploaded into the system. So in that case, I'll click Submit It. When a driver receives documents successfully uploaded, that means it is now going to be found in the system. I give the timetable of 10 to 15 minutes. There are many times where it's 10 to 15 seconds, but it's always good just to give that little window there. But in the meantime, we'll see that email come across before it even gets into the system. So you have the ability to review that document and catch it and say, hey, Johnny, can you retake that picture? It's a little blurry. Or, hey, can you turn off the steering wheel? It looks like looks a little shaky. Or maybe lay off the coffee for 30 minutes because it got the shakes there. So it gives you the ability to confirm legibility and feel good about what is being uploaded, or maybe take two, got another chance to take a picture. Then you could just contact your billing rep and they can remove one of those pictures that was not legible. The end game is you want to feel good about the documents that are going to be sent with the invoice, that they will be accepted the first time, which won't cause then any delay in the documents. Cool. Look at that. We got the email right away there. So here is the email. So that was less than 2 minutes. So as Gabe was saying, you can pull up that document and bam, that looks pretty legible to me here. If I zoom in a little bit here, I mean, everything looks clear. I can read all of the very important information on this eRigs captured document that had a little customizations, if you want to say, to ensure that it was a clear document uploaded in the system. So any questions come across with that?
While people might be asking questions or typing questions, Mike, I just wanted to mention you did a fantastic job on that demo. It's clear, it's legible, it came up. You even changed the picture quality. So I like to mention to agents that if we don't communicate with the driver on how to take a picture, they may not be aware that you have the ability to crop an image as well as change the brightness. I know they probably just hit next, 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 and next. I don't know, but I do know that some people didn't even know you had the ability to do that. So
Yep.
I encourage to let the drivers know that they have the ability to do that with the eRigs app,
Yep.
and that knocks out like 90% of your issues with paperwork coming across through eRigs. Period.
Hmm.
Yep.
Right. Right. And here's just an example of what I just did. I just took a picture. A driver gets the ability to see, all right, did I not have a steady hand when I scanned that picture? So here's a picture that I took kind of on the move. They're going to see right away that it is blurry. I'm like, all right, you know what? That's a blurry picture. It's not centered. So I'm going to click retake and then take a picture of that again. So if I, go in here, I just go right in. Yes, you got this shadow going. So that is where maybe I need to brighten it. But see how doing this, all right, that's really not helping that bottom left hand corner there. So as a driver, maybe I need to retake this picture in general to get rid of that shadow. So it's a lot of thinking that goes into place on some of the pictures. But if you have the proper lighting, where it's like straight down, or you maneuver yourself around, it is a very simple process. We try to really make e-rigs simplistic and straightforward. But that's a good example as well of if a driver needs to retake the picture, they can do so by just going back and then go back into camera capture, and then whether it's moving the camera around, trying to look for the least amount of shadows that are there. So shadow definitely plays into the legibility as well. Any
Great,
other questions?
great, great, very good.
All right, well then I will pass the screen back to you, sir.
Oh, let's see this.
Bam.
Yep, bam, got it. Yep. All right, let's see. Let's take a look at this audience view. Hold on. I think I got to share my screen now because show my screen. Bam, there we go. I have a lot up. All right, great. One more thing, we got to move on, right? That was one of the biggest number one, so that was definitely going to take most of our time of the webinar. But I wanted to mention to other people, and Jess, thank you for commenting on this as well. There are other apps that allows you to take a picture and automatically scan something in, putting into a scan PDF format, if you will. From my understanding, if I read Jess's chat correctly. She mentioned Google Drive has a scan feature that does that, and that's great. I've never tried it. Okay, but I have tried Cam Scanner, and I'm not trying to sell this to you, but there are other apps out there, and I have tried Cam Scanner that instantly does that. And basically, if you're having problems with the driver, have them try to use this and send an email to you. I would filter it. I would get the email to you just to make sure everybody's on board before they start emailing the paperwork in, because you can email the paperwork right in. This is just one example. There's more than one. That's why we encourage you to give us a call. We can walk through it. I don't care if your driver calls me. That's right. I said it. Have your driver call me, and I'll be more than happy to walk him or her through how to take a good picture. Period. At the end of the day, we can log in to their app, their tablet, or their phone with their permission. We can log in. At basically, it's like what we're doing right now. So we can do that. All right, so we're going to jump into the next one. Bear with me here. Number two. First, thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Very good
You got it,
example.
sir.
Number two here. The correct PO slash reference number not being on the invoice, right? Basically, that primary number the customer is looking for. Now, I have an example here. I guess, I had to go through like Hubble, but this is, this. Okay, hold on. Hit back. Where's the back? I guess I can't click on my screen. I can't even zoom into it. Uh, oh snap! I can zoom into it, so you can clearly see here the delivery order. The customer reference number is 1531464, but on our billing screen we entered a different reference number, right? We actually on our billing screen we entered in. I thought I picked some other random number. I guess I didn't, but maybe we did put something else. We put the bill of lading number there, or we put the pickup number or the load number. But the whole time they were looking for the customer reference number. So this is the biggest. They're not going to pay the bill. It's going to come back. So you want to make sure you enter in the proper information. It can become a nightmare for an account collector to try to figure out what the right customer reference number is by going through all the paperwork. So, for everyone's benefit, being proactive as possible, we can enter in the proper paperwork, the proper reference numbers. If you're not sure, let me scroll to the right here. If you're not sure, put the low number in reference one, put the customer reference number in reference three, and the pickup number in reference two. One of those are going to hit. All of them are going to display on the invoice, so we're good. The other thing I want to mention, some of the accounts actually have a mask on the background to help avoid billing issues. Now, I don't have a screenshot, but pretty much it says, yeah, reference one must be the customer reference number that consists of seven numerical numbers, seven numbers. So in this case, it should have been 1531464. Things like that to help you avoid billing discrepancies. That's very important. That's the number two. Basically, we're not matching those things up. Correct PO number, reference number not being on the invoice. There's more to it too, but that's also a big one. That's another reason why you don't get rid of original paperwork. Okay, next one. Bear with me here. Not attaching proper paperwork, not attaching it, not emailing it, or not uploading the proper paperwork. Examples could be bill of ladings, accessorial approvals, rate sheets, PODs, and even revised delivery orders. There was some kind of change, stuff like that. Um, yeah. Sorry, a question came in, so I'll get to that. Accessorial approvals. We need that paperwork. Gabe, they approved detention and it was in an email. That's fine. That's cool. That makes sense, right? It's due in 2020. But print that email out and upload it. Or scan it. You want to print that email out and scan it. If you want to save the trees, which I'm down for, go green all day, every day. So save that email as the PDF and upload it. Okay, there's ways to do that. We are more than happy to show you how you can save an email as a PDF. It happens. Accessorial approvals, especially, overweight citations and more. What's the other one I wanted to talk about? Detention. Yeah, right. PODs, basically just missing paperwork. We're not having it. It's not in here. If your driver's using e-rigs or some kind of mobile app to get the paperwork into you, make sure that you filter it, review it, view it, make sure it's correct, it's the right paperwork, and it's all what you need. If you need the in and out gate receipts, make sure you got the in and out gate receipts, both of them. And Gabe, I have 26 drivers. That's so much to do. But at the same time, it can all be done because each one of those orders that you're billing has a view documents button and you can see it right there. So we encourage that. Also, if you received copies via email, you have it right there. So we suggest you take a look at that as well. Next, not getting the approval for billing additional charges. Did that not change? Oh yeah, maybe I gotta fix that. Oh, and here we go. There's one too many slides there. Not getting the approval for billing additional charges. Get those approvals. Detention, citations, overweight. And you see, I was very basic. I said all additional charges, like whatever that may be. Oh my goodness, you know what I'm talking about. Get those approved. That's a big problem. I was speaking to collections. The line haul's approved, right? The line haul $700, fuel surcharges, the fuel's approved, etc. Next thing you know, they have an additional charge on there, such as storage. Okay, and the customer wasn't aware of that, and so they're not going to pay the bill. And it doesn't matter; they're not even going to pay the line haul. Some actually do. The short pay; they just pay this part of the bill and not the other part, and that that's fine, right? It's better than nothing. But at the same time, it's only more processes you need to go through. So make sure that all you have approvals for all these other additional charges, just hands down, and you should have it up front. You can pay a driver only, and then bill the customer once you have the approval later for detention. There's also more to it in regards to per diem and chassis and things like that. So if you have a scenario where, Gabe, I can't bill for this today, but I want to pay my driver, or can I bill for it now and bill again later on? You can do it. I don't want you to think that once you build a order out, you can't make any changes to it. Yes, you can. They can revise corporate here, your people can revise the invoice and add that additional charge and send the new invoice to the customer. But what we need is those approvals. That's it right there. And a final example that came into me today, or that I caught up with my emails today. Don't judge me. Went to the right here, scanning in too many blanks. That's a problem. When we scan in, we use an Evans provided scanner or whatever have you scanner, but we may scan in too many blanks. And what occurs is, let's say I scanned in 5 pages, right? But then it did the backside. So that's a total of 10 pages, 5 were blank. You want to avoid this because what can occur is the file's now too big to be sent out to the customer. They didn't even receive the invoice. And then if we correct it and we send it out, or they did get a part of the invoice, but they're not accepting it because we sent it, their system didn't get it in because their system doesn't go more than 10 megabytes, whatever have you. But those blanks, there's ways to fix that. One, I zoom in a little bit. You can change the scanner to not include blank pages. I can speak for the Evans provided scanners. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Give me a second here. I don't want to minimize everything. But when you get an Evans provided scanner, now call me. I can show you how to do this. Call Tech Deck. They can show you how to do this. I can't show you my screen right now, but basically your scanner comes with a control center. The control center either looks like this blue one or there's another orange one. It doesn't matter which one you go to. What matters is you go to configuration. I don't know if the other one says settings, but I'm just gonna go to configuration. This this right here, I can go to whatever I scan in, such as image, OCRs, emails, file print. Um, so this is the button. I want to go to device settings. Device scan settings is when you're using the agent portal. Okay, you go right into device scan settings, and you literally take off two-sided scanning, just like that. And then you would hit apply, and you would hit OK, and you're done. Actually, I would suggest continue to do that. Um, we were just under image, that's a JPEG. But I would continue to do that for file as well, and for email as well. I don't even know what OCR, but why not? Do it for that too. You see what we did there? And let me just make sure they're all now no longer double-sided scanning. I hit apply. I hit OK. Boom, you're done. I'm going to go into advanced settings because I'm just curious. Is there other places I got to change that to? No. The advanced settings, look at this. Advanced settings came up in my other screen. This is it. Skip blank page. Yeah, let's make sure that one's uh, scanned in, right? Things like that. So your scanners do have some settings. That's the most setting I know up front. You just have to do it at least once. You won't have to keep doing it again. Please feel free to contact techdeck@evansdelivery.com who can assist with taking off the blank scans. Furthermore, if you can't take off the blank page scanning, it's not the end of the world. Because when you do actually scan, give me a second here, you have the ability to delete that. I got a little fake image here. Bear with me here. I'm just gonna go to an old order here. I don't wanna hit somebody else's paperwork. Give me a test account, people, test account. I'm just gonna go ahead, bring something up here, and click on scan documents. When you scan in, now I don't have a scanner, I can't exactly show you the example, but I can tell you what I'm talking about. Let's say I scan in 3 pages. You can come here and say, oh, this is a billing page. Oh, this is interchange or another billing page, whatever. But this blank page needs to be deleted. And then you can select. All the rest ones are all blank pages, right? Delete, delete, delete. I guess if I would have 3 deletes, then I would most likely have 3 correct pages. But there we go. And that's how you would do it. And you would obviously upload it successful. So please, you do have the ability to avoid those blank pages. Those blank pages can delay payment, which then can increase, right? At the end of the day, it increases. Um, and that's it. That's all I wanted to mention about those blank pages. Let me jump back to the PowerPoint. We're almost an hour in. There's only one more slide I want to talk about, and then we'll help take any questions or discussions. The next slide is the doghouse. Just I wanted to mention avoiding the doghouse. So remember this. Loads with missing paperwork. That's getting you in the doghouse. We want to make sure that we have the necessary and required paperwork customers are looking for. So get those in and out tickets and those lumper receipts as well. Anything that allows for additional accessorial charges or help avoid per diem. You had the box out 2 days. Well, not according to this interchange receipts. It was indicated at this date. Things like that. We'll fight for you, but we need that. We need that info. Make sure the matching rate confirmations and the rate changes. I don't know what I was thinking when I typed that, but make sure the rates match. So what you're billing, and make sure what you're billing matches the rate confirmation. Period. In that billing screen, if you were supposed to bill a customer for $1,200, 1,000 was the line haul, $200 was gas, and you bill the customer for $1,300, guess what's going to happen? It's not going to get paid. And if you don't address that within yay amount of days, please talk to your account representative for that. Then they'll start to incur deductions and stuff like that. We don't want that. For real, we do not. Oh my goodness, I'm friends with these people too, and they let me know too. Like we don't want to call anyone to do any deductions, but they haven't answered my emails, and I don't have the paperwork the customer wants. So please help us out. We're here to help you. Same applies to per diem and chassis approvals. Get it in, get that paperwork in, and that last or not least, clarity. Make sure the paperwork is legible. My man Mike gave us a fantastic demo. And those are things that we want to address with our drivers. Make sure you're up front of the picture. If you're doing pictures, make sure you're up front with the picture, not at an angle. Make sure that you have a lights on or there's enough enough light in that picture. And please make sure to crop those pictures and make sure at least one of it's only one image, not one image of 6 items of 6 pieces of paper, just one image of one piece of paper. And that's it. That's definitely what we wanted to talk about here. So I'm going to go ahead and try to go to the very first slide. But anyone want to ask any questions? We'll be on for the next couple minutes, next 10 minutes. If feel free to ask questions. We'll be here. We'll even go through any scenarios you need. I'm here for you. Mike's here for you. I hope to talk to everybody soon. If not, you can go ahead, leave, or ask questions. It's up to you. We're going to stay on the line for a couple more minutes. All right, we got a question in. Thank you, Jocelyn. I don't want you to think I left you here. One of your questions was, and I'm just reading this for the first time. Once the paperwork is in and we view images, how can we crop if needed to? So that's a very good question. This once the paperwork is in and we view images, how can we crop if we needed to? So just to straight up, once you click on view documents and you see it there and you want to crop it, you can't crop it there per se. You cannot crop it there. Um, so I don't want you to lose any more quality. I would suggest up front, instead of you going through all this office work, I would suggest telling the driver to do it again and crop it again. If it was an image, we're talking images here, right? Other than that, you manually in the office, and I'm thinking out loud here, you can print it out, okay, and cut it and scan it in, okay. When I like instead of cropping, you're cutting, right? There's also look, Gabe, I don't want to print it out and then get scissors and crop it. And this is me thinking out loud. That was one solution, you know. And another way is there's software out there. So you take that image, that PDF file, and you save it. You can save it as a PDF, and I believe some PDFs allow you to crop just like that. If not, you're going to have to convert that PDF to a picture, and then you crop that. You know, like every picture program has a cropping tool on it, and there's ways how to convert paperwork into pictures. Okay, but like I said, you don't want to get a bad picture from your driver every time he or she sends a bad picture, and then you got to crop it every time. The number one solution to that would be to go to the source and then just say, "Hey, let me get a better picture. Please crop it," stuff like that. If you know, and feel free to send it to me too. We'll be more than happy to do one or two, and we'll talk about how we can get the best images there. I hope that helps answer your question. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yep, still on here for a couple more questions. I know it's 3 o'clock, so if anybody wants to go out, I won't hold you to it. I'm gonna stay on here for 2 more minutes. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining. I don't see any questions. If you're still typing it and I close it on you, my apologies. Send it to my email, uh, gmarrero at evansdelivery.com, or just training department, all one word, at evansdelivery.com. Your questions, and I mean any time of the day, and we will surely get back to you immediately. All right, everyone, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Please stay warm and safe, and enjoy your dinner, etc. Hope you have a good weekend. Thank you.